Welcome to the Mindless Meanderings podcast. I am your host, Jesse Fries.
And I'm his co-host and brother, Jamin Fries.
Welcome to the Mindless Seat, and we talk about many different things, but let's start off today with what's in the news, which is the debate.
Oh, it's got to be the debate, yeah.
Everything's about the debate. So did you watch it?
Of course it is. I actually did. I've watched it a couple times just to, make sure that I heard what I thought I heard.
A couple times? Oh, dude, you're a glutton for punishment. Well,
Hey, it's so funny though. The second time I watched it through, because I remembered a lot of the stuff that they said in the first time I watched it, I caught a lot of stuff that I didn't really hear the first time around. So, that's why I decided to watch it that second time, was just so I could hear everything.
Okay, I can understand that. I can understand that. So in all, just overall, who do you think won?
I liked Trump a lot, but I'm not sure for just general people.
Right.
Harris might have slightly pulled it off out.
Okay.
I'm not sure though.
Okay, that seems to be the consensus out there from what I've seen. CNN did a poll, and they said that like 63% said that Harris won, but it's CNN poll, so you never know on that part.
Oh yeah. I mean, as Trump said before this thing, he said, even if I blow her away, they're gonna still say that she won it.
Right, but from everything I could tell, because I also check like the Wall Street Journal and everything like that, which is more conservative.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much also saying Harris won in general. Just now, they said that the moderators were a little bit nicer to her and everything like that, but that was really about it.
Oh, so. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's typical, though. I mean, there's the moderators will always have their tilt.
Yep, completely. So, since you watched it twice, what is your rundown of it?
Well, there was something that I found absolutely amusing, and that was Kamala Harris's very first intro into what the debate was going to be. She said, "You're going to hear the same old playbook: lies, grievances, and name calling."
Right.
And the first thing she does is go into lies, grievances, and name calling. She was saying we're going to hear it from Trump, but I didn't hear anything new out of her mouth that I haven't heard for the last. I mean, from anyone on the Democrat side that I haven't heard from the last 5 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just it's frustrating that they say that this person's going to do all this, but they do it themselves too, and as if they're better than them.
Well, of course, everybody thinks they're better than the other person, so
yeah. But I mean, just there was a lot of stuff that was talked about that just really it didn't really go anywhere. It didn't tell me anything about either one of the candidates. And that's something that I've always disliked about Trump in the way he handles debates, is that I'm actually interested in hearing what they think about doing, instead of always talking about the opponent in a negative light.
Right.
And Harris had a couple of times where she talked about what she was going to do with abortion and with jobs and stuff like that, trying to increase the economy for the middle class people. But I didn't find any of it really that realistic. None of it really seems like a good idea. She wants to give parents for like, I think it was $6,000 or something like that for their
Hmm.
for a newborn child.
Okay.
I mean, and that might actually help decrease the number of abortions and stuff like that, because a lot of that's done because the potential parents just can't afford to have a child.
Well, yeah, but
Um,
$6,000 isn't much
I
of
know
anything.
six
That's
thousand
it's
bucks ain't nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. I
exactly. So
mean,
what? Like before the pandemic, $6,000 was what? $4,000. So
something like that. Yeah.
it's-
Yeah, I mean, it really has no effect on anything. Yeah, I don't like the one thing I didn't like about one of the things I didn't like about Kamala was that she often referred to how she was from a middle class family and all that other stuff.
uh-huh.
I'm sorry, but I don't know anyone in politics that's actually from a middle class family. Her father was a I believe Stanford professor.
Right.
That's not exactly middle class.
Well, it really is actually if you consider it, but it's also but it's a different level of
Yeah. It's not the
it's
middle class that I think of, anyways.
well, right. When you think of middle class, you think about people working, doing 9 to 5, and everything like that. Uh,
Yeah, you think about the blue collar worker, and
right.
it's the people that are out there doing something with their hands and with their bodies to create something, or stuff like that. Those are the people that are in the middle class. It's not the people that just use their brains and get a lot of money.
No. Actually, it is that. It is using your brains. That is. It's like
Well,
when we grew up, we were decidedly in the middle class, upper middle class, with how much
upper middle class, yes, yes, definitely.
exactly. But even then, middle class, all it means is basically you're just taking the middle part of income earners, and that's it.
Yeah, I know.
You know, the only real like blue collar that are like middle class are like union workers, and then you also have like plumbers and electricians and whatnot. Those are the
Like you said, union workers, because basically all those are
exactly.
union.
But they're making 6 figures a year. You know, it's
Yeah.
so I don't
Well, I
think
guess I've never really seen them people making over people making six figures. I've never really considered that middle class. Um,
per
because
the
for me, well, I mean, yeah, I don't know exactly what income levels is middle class, but you know, for me, I guess I'm lower class then, because I've never made more than 35,000 in my life in a
I
year.
right. I'd
But
probably
I've never considered myself lower class.
right. Well,
I've
you're
never
also by
considered myself
yourself.
poor.
Yeah, you're also by yourself, so you don't have so like to be in the middle class. It depends on like your family size. You know what I mean? It's like if you have a family of four on $35,000, you're broke. It's just
Well, yeah,
you're
absolutely,
poor.
yes,
Yeah. But if
yes.
you're making 35,000 back in the 2000s, all by
Yeah,
yourself,
that
you have
for me
extra
that was
income.
late '90s, early 2000s.
Exactly. So yeah, for that, it's you get to give yourself some luxuries and things like that. So you felt
Yeah.
like you were living really well. But if you have
Well,
like a family
and
of
for
four,
me it
you're
was
screwed on that. So it's
yeah, for me at that time it was actually a little bit more than that, because I didn't have a house of my own. I lived with mom and dad.
right, exactly.
I was an over the road truck driver that was home maybe 2 weekends a month, so it didn't really make sense to rent an apartment or anything like that. I mean, that'd just be
Oh,
stupid,
completely,
you know.
completely. Yeah.
And so, I had, my food budget, of course, was a lot higher because every single meal was in a restaurant.
Hmm.
And that gets pretty expensive.
It does. It does. It
But
really does.
yeah, so I mean, so that maybe that helped it so that I didn't feel like I was broke all the time. But I mean, I specifically remember and this is something that I quite often saw with truck drivers. This was back before the automated banking and stuff like that became really popular. It was not unusual for me to have like $500-600 in my wallet just in cash.
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah, that's how I was when I was single and just
Yeah.
working and didn't have much to do. It was
Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
was pretty easy that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it just um but yeah, so middle class has always been kind of iffy for me. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think the thing that I really don't like the most though is the and it happens from both sides, is the lies that the I don't really want to say lies because they think that that's true. I hope they at least think it's true.
They're
But the
politicians. They don't
mistruths
care.
and the shortedness, yeah, that's true. But no, I found a website here, NBC News, their fact check for the debate.
Uh-huh.
And there's a few things that I find just absolutely hilarious about it. So you remember in the debate when Trump called Kamala Harris's father a Marxist and that she was a Marxist as well?
No, I didn't watch it. Just so you know, I didn't
Oh, you
watch
didn't? Okay.
it. I don't
Okay.
watch these
Well,
political things. I read about them afterwards, or I read the
okay.
transcripts. I don't actually watch them. I hate watching political theater. So.
Okay, okay, but yeah. So Trump said that she was a Marxist and that her professor father was a Marxist.
Uh huh.
And in the fact check, it says that this is false, and they specifically say because there's 3 students that disagreed with it.
Three students.
I mean, I just yeah, I mean, 3 of Professor Donald Harris's former students, who are now economists themselves, told NBC News that they disagreed that Harris's father is a Marxist. And that just means it's absolutely false that he wasn't a Marxist. Well, I mean, they were his students. They bought it. He studied Karl Marx's economic philosophy and
Right.
stuff like that. So they're not going to think that they're Marxist, but uh, if they're taught by a Marxist, there's a good potential that they have Marxist ideals, and you're
Well,
never
yeah,
going to admit to that.
or it could be that there's a little bit of change here and everything like that, and so because of that, it's not
Yeah.
quite as Marxist. It's like going down the chain of just communism. If you like international communism, you have Marxism,
Oh
and
yeah.
then you have
Yep.
Lenin Marxism, and then you have
Yep.
Lenin Stalin Marxism, and then you.
Yep.
you also have a Trotsky Marxism, and then you have
Yep.
a Mao or Stalin Mao Marxism, and so you have all this sort of yeah, exactly. What exactly is pure Marxism? It's
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
with anything, everybody hopefully would have moved on from exactly pure Marxism, because nothing
Yep.
can hold
Yep.
up under
Oh yeah.
extreme
Yeah. No,
scrutiny.
absolutely
So,
not. Yeah. Yeah. And another fact check that I just find hilarious. So Trump during the debate said that when the withdrawal from Afghanistan, that
mhm.
we left 85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind,
Right.
and they say this is absolutely false.
Uh huh.
The reason that it's false is according to a 2022 Defense Department report, the Taliban seized much of the estimated 7.12 billion in US funded equipment that was in the hands of the former Afghan government when it collapsed.
Ah.
So
So
what about
they're
all the
splitting
equipment
hairs.
that was at our well I mean what about all of the equipment, the planes and stuff like that we left behind on our air bases that wasn't in the former Afghan government hands? So
Well,
7.12 billion was being used by the Afghan government that was left behind.
mhm.
But what about all the equipment that we left behind at our bases? I mean, I remember seeing pictures of just, long rows of jet fighters. Now, I don't know if they tampered with them in any way to make them unusable. I hope they at least did that. But I mean, that's, one fighter jet almost costs $1 billion, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, what it could be is that this was Pentagon, so the Pentagon in their uh, bookkeeping, they could have just said, okay, well, we left it behind and we purposely gave that to the Afghan government, and so it's all Afghan government. You know what I mean? it's I would not put it past our government to do something like that, especially the Pentagon. It's like, yeah, we just gave it. There was a guy over there. He was from the Afghan government. At least I think he was. And we gave him all this stuff. It's that
Yeah,
way
yeah,
they didn't lose it. I don't
yeah.
know. When it comes to Afghanistan, I don't know. Trump set up the whole the getting out of Afghanistan with the treaty that he signed. Biden was pissed.
Yeah. Oh, I
So I
know.
really,
Yeah.
so I don't know what Trump would have done differently, because this is how the military works. We always leave billions of dollars everywhere we go. It just doesn't matter. It's we did it in Vietnam. We did it everywhere. It's just how we roll.
Well, I
You
mean,
can't get everything out.
there's a difference between Vietnam, though. I mean, Vietnam, we were being overrun by the Viet Cong. We didn't have a chance to. It was absolutely not an orderly retreat, and that's not really what happened with Afghanistan at first. I mean, with Afghanistan, like you said, we had deals and we had treaties and stuff like that to slowly pull out. And the thing from
No, it
according to
wasn't a
what
slow
Trump
pull out.
said,
There wasn't anything about a slow pull out. All it was is we're out by this time. Now, how that was enacted, that's the question. But it was all we're just going
yeah,
to be out by this date. Uh,
yeah,
so, because more than likely, if he hadn't done that, we'd still be in Afghanistan right now, probably.
oh yes, we absolutely would. I mean, yeah, definitely.
And maybe we
Or it would
wouldn't
have been
care about Russia invading Ukraine, maybe because we were involved in Afghanistan. Yeah.
yep. But yeah, no. So I don't know. I mean, there's just so many things that just uh, like Kamala Harris saying that there's no U.S. military members are on active duty in a combat zone.
Uh-huh.
NBC actually was kind of fair with this one. They said, no, that's not true. We don't have any officially formally declared wars,
Yeah,
but we're
exactly.
definitely in combat zones.
Yeah, we're in Syria, for God's sakes. That's
Yeah.
we're many different.
We still have foot soldiers on the ground in Iraq and Syria, and there's
We,
all
yeah,
sorts of.
we probably have some
Yeah,
with the IDF in Gaza right now. I'd bet of some
probably.
sort.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yep.
yeah.
But yeah, no. And
Okay.
then so yeah, there's just lots of interesting things that were talked about. So
Oh yeah. But yeah, so overall, you would say Kamala probably she had the better performance necessarily, but you didn't like.
she didn't. I wouldn't say she talked about her game, but she seemed to. Uh, I don't want to say be more in control, but
Mhm.
she actually said a couple of things about what she wanted to do,
Right.
whereas I didn't hear any of that out of Trump. They tried to ask him specifically what he was going to do about certain things, and
Uh-huh.
I mean, he would just say, "Well, I'm not president right now, so I don't really know what I would end up doing," which completely makes sense because once you become president, you have access to a lot more information about everything
Well, that's his own damn fault,
than you
though,
do as a
because
running
he
mate.
decided not to get the briefings. He actually decided
Yeah,
not to
I
get the
know.
briefings from
Yeah.
CIA and everybody. So,
Yeah.
uh, okay, that's the first I've ever heard of that from this from the debate. I haven't seen or heard any of that in the media. From what I've heard about the
Yeah.
debate, that's new to me, and that's kind of janky, really, because
Yeah.
you're in a
Yeah.
debate to say what you're going to do when you're president. That's why you're in
Yeah.
the debate, not
Yep.
to him and ha. And okay, yeah, no, that,
But see
that's
that
kind of
that's why
crazy.
I think Harris pulled it out a little bit. Um, Now he was at that when he made that comment, he was referring to they asked him how he was going to get all of the illegal aliens that have come across the border, how he was going to find them and get them out of the U.S.
Right,
Um,
right,
they had said, "Are you going to go door to door?" And of course, he's not going to answer that question. I mean,
right, right.
you know, and so he just said something about, well, I'm not president right now, so well, that's something that I'll have to figure out later, basically.
Why don't you just okay? Yeah, there's many different ways he could have said that, but yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and I mean, and that's something that I have heard from him quite often is he says what he wants to do, but I've never once heard an explanation as to how he was going to get it done. Now, that could be, as a businessman, you don't tell other businesses how you're going to achieve something, because then they can start doing it themselves. So I mean, I
Right.
don't know if that's just the mentality that he's brought from being in the business world, and just he doesn't, because he's not a politician. I mean,
Or maybe he's sick and tired of Kamala Harris actually stealing all his ideas and taking them on for
well,
herself.
that
Yeah,
could be. He did bring that up a few times too,
yeah.
about how they found out that what they were doing wasn't working, so they went back to my ideas,
Exactly.
with the price of gas and the oil production here in the U.S. Kamala was saying that we have the highest oil production that we've ever had,
Right, right.
and you know that's all well and good, but on their side of the government, they also completely emptied our fuel reserves.
Well, right, right.
When they first went into office, they sold all of the reserved oil that we had for the military and stuff like that to other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And that just, I mean, until they build that back up to where it was in the past, I don't actually consider any of the oil that they're drilling to be worth anything.
Ah, I see. Interesting. Interesting.
Because
Huh.
that oil that they sold was what we used to fuel our fighter jets. We have a lot of
No, yeah,
naval
yeah.
ships that cannot leave port because they have no fuel.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I mean, so until you get back to the standard that we were at when you went into office, I won't consider that you've done a decent job with it, because you fell way behind in the early on and you haven't even caught up yet.
Well, that makes sense. Makes sense. Is there really does that pretty much cover the debate though, overall?
Yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to talk about with the debate.
Okay, okay, cool. Let's go on to something a little bit more lighthearted. So apparently, there's the Eiffel Tower is in the news, and
Is it really?
yeah, yeah. So apparently, the mayor of Paris, her name is Anne Hidalgo. She wants to keep the Olympic rings on the Eiffel Tower for indefinite period of time. And so now this is starting to cause a kerfuffle.
I can imagine.
Even what is it? Gustav Eiffel's family has got involved. He was the guy that built the freaking Eiffel
Yeah,
Tower,
yeah.
and yeah, his family is getting involved and saying no, 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 no.
Yeah, no, no.
But yeah,
That Wow, that like completely destroys a national landmark if they do that.
Well, it's just for the family, for the Eiffel family. It's all about the sight lines. It's like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
interrupting the sight lines that our ancestor put up there.
yep, yep,
From the
yep.
mayor's point of view, she's like going, well, it really brought the city together, so let's keep it up. And a lot of people are just saying that it's pure
Eh,
political. So
oh yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
she's trying to get elected
I
again.
Yeah, well, and having those five rings on the Eiffel Tower is not going to keep bringing the people together. What brought the people together was everyone that came in because it was the Olympics there. You
Hmm.
know, I mean, the police. I'm sure that the police were ramped up to a maximum. It's all just it was all just built up, and it's not going to stay as a permanent thing.
No,
Even
yeah,
if you keep
exactly.
those
Yep.
rings on there, you're not going to maintain the peace just because you have these five rings up on the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I find it funny, and the International Olympic
Yeah.
Committee is going. Maybe we'll allow it. Maybe we'll allow it. Because usually, what you do with those rings is you just take them down. There might be
Oh yeah,
like an
yeah.
Olympic park that you keep the Olympic symbol on, but like
Right.
for in the city, you just take it down. It happened in Tokyo, it
Yeah.
happened in Beijing. All these cities.
That happens everywhere.
Exactly. You
Everywhere
just
that's had
take
it,
them
that's
down.
happened. Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I thought that was
Well,
kind of funny.
there's a first for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
What
yeah,
else you got?
that is funny though.
Yeah.
Well, back onto a little bit more serious note.
Uh huh.
Something I saw recently in the news was there was another school shooting. I'm sure you've heard about that.
Yep, yep.
Um,
In Georgia.
just north of Atlanta, Georgia. Yep.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking and I got to studying a little bit about it. Not that specific school shooting, but there's one thing that I've always thought was a reoccurring topic that for almost every school shooting that I have heard about
Mm-hmm.
was that this person was bullied on a massively large scale in most cases of them.
Right, right. Ostracized, that sort
And
of thing.
yet
Yep.
all they ever talk about, well, no, I mean, even sometimes it goes as far as physical bullying with the
Oh
one
yeah.
in
Yeah. Yep.
with the one out in Atlanta. From my understanding, I saw a news article, news report that said that about a that sometime in 2023 they thought that there was somebody that had posted on Discord a thing saying that they were going to shoot up their school with pictures of guns and stuff like that. So they went and investigated it.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid that they went to investigate, who happened to be the one that did the shooting this time around, he according to his father, he was constantly being physically bullied. He was getting pinched real hard. He was getting poked all the time.
Uh-huh.
And and so they keep talking about how we need to get rid of the guns so that these school shootings don't happen anymore. Yet, according to a 2019 report put out by the Secret Service, where they studied a lot of the school shootings that happened after Columbine.
Mm-hmm.
They did not include in their studies any school shooting that happened by a non-student. So they had to be a student or just recent former student of the school.
All
And they
right.
also ruled out any shootings that didn't have any injuries. I
Okay.
guess there are some where kids just go and shoot up into the air or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. I
But
I remember like a gun going off in the parking lot at school, because some hunter
oh
forgot
really?
a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, he shot it through the bottom of his car. Just because so
Oh,
yeah.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. But yeah, so what the Secret Service report said was that 75% of the people that they interviewed that were the people that did the shooting
Mm-hmm.
75% of them were bullied to an extreme point
Okay.
before the shooting occurred. So to me, doesn't that mean that if you do something about the bullying instead of taking away guns,
Well, they have.
shouldn't you be a lot more concerned? Well, they have, but they haven't.
Well, because
I
you
mean,
can't. See, that's the thing. It's this whole idea that you can stop bullying is stupid.
well, no, I know that you can't stop bullying. There will always be
Yeah,
people that are bullies. But
that's well,
what
no.
what
It's
you
it's not that there's always going to be people that are bullies. What it is what is bullying? It is society trying to get everybody in line to make sure that people. Of course, there's just assholes out there. But in general, bullying is that, especially when it's mass bullying. It's like that's an odd person, and so because of that, you're going to tease them. You're going to do all these sorts of things. This is human nature. This is how we work. It's like there's so many rules now in schools and laws and states and everything like that that stop bullying, but it doesn't. All these kids still bully. It's just hidden. It's just in a different way, and they can get away with it. Everybody still knows the pecking order. Everybody knows who's ostracized, who's not. I don't think there's anything that could
well,
really be
yeah.
done about
Well,
bullying.
I
I
mean,
really don't.
yeah, I don't know. I personally think, and I mean, from my own experience in high school, and yes, it was a private high school, so there wasn't much of it, but there was some bullying.
Mm-hmm.
But the bullying always seemed to happen in places where there were no teachers, like the hallways.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, of course, of
you know,
course.
if you put an adult presence in the hallways, then you know, because I mean, you know, these shootings, as far as I can figure out, a lot of these shootings and stuff like that happen because the kid thinks that there's no way out.
Right,
You know,
right. Because they're kids and they're stupid.
yeah,
All
yeah.
kids are stupid.
Well, yeah,
I'm not saying that
yes,
these specific kids are
absolutely.
any more stupid, but it's just
Right, yeah, no.
it's the end of the
But
world if something happens at that age. So
and the other thing that I find very amusing is that they say that it's partially because of the bullying, but then it's also because of mental issues.
right, and the drugs,
Now,
probably the drugs that they're on too.
yeah, if I remember correctly, though, it doesn't bullying cause a lot of mental issues
It can
for these kids? I mean,
well, it's a mental strain, but it's like which came first, chicken or egg? You know, did they have mental issues which caused the bullying, or did the bullying cause the mental issues? You
yeah,
know, it's which way did it go? You know, it's
yeah. You know, but I
it,
mean, these are just the thoughts that I had when I saw that report. You know, thinking about the bullying and trying to maybe find a way to, you know, laws will never work against bullying. It's just impossible for laws to work against that because, well, I mean, a lot of people look at it as kids will be kids. You know, they see kids roughhousing, don't pay attention to who's being roughhoused with or anything like that. It's just kids being kids.
well, you also can't always have an eye out. You know, you can't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You know, we would need a surveillance state that's everybody that about 10 people are monitoring one camera so that they could see all the different aspects from that one camera view, let alone all the other ones, just to try to catch everything. And not only that,
Yeah.
but it's like take like if you talk about like physical and everything like that, look at football. Okay, how many things are hidden in football that are in plain sight that are recorded so many times, but you know, there's gut punches, there's this, there's that, you know, it's just, the only thing there
Well, I mean,
isn't is
it's
biting
football. You
because there's a face
expect that in
mask.
football.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying though. It's
Yep.
the NFL football is one of the most recorded things from so many points of view, and they
Oh
still
yeah,
get
yeah,
away with things like this. So what I'm just saying is that it's impossible to stop it
yeah.
all and anything. I understand trying to stop some of it, but from what I can tell, these kids, they already know who it is and everything like that. They know the people on the outside, the people on the inside. There's still the cliques.
Oh yeah,
There's still everything.
yeah,
Nothing. It's just how the adults are treating it. But beyond that, it's the same life that we grew up in high school. You know, it's the same thing. You know, it's just a lot of it is how you respond to things. You know, there a
yeah.
few times in my life, people tried to bully me. It didn't work. And so
Right.
they tried like once each time, and then it just didn't work.
No one ever
Uh,
tried to bully me. I could never figure out why.
well, you were a very big kid. Just saying, you were quite
Well, I mean,
tall.
freshman in high school, I was 6'4" and
Oh
weighed
no, yeah,
320.
yeah, yeah.
And I played football. I could
Mm.
bench press 340 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep, yep.
that may have played some part in no one wanting to mess with me, but you never know.
Yeah,
Somebody might
yeah.
have been brave.
I remember this one time in high school. I was I'm like 5'10", 5'11". I was
Yeah.
like maybe like a buck 30 or something like that at the time. And there's this smaller guy than me. He was even smaller than me, and he comes up to me in the hallway and tries to start something. And I just literally just moved my hand and pushed him up against the lockers and kept walking. I didn't even stop. I was just like, "What are
That's
you
awesome.
doing, dude? I didn't even think anything of it. I thought it was hilarious. I'm like going, okay, dude. Yeah,
Yeah. Ever since one experience in football, I have always been more leery of that small guy than anybody else.
no, you have to be, especially if they can back it up. You know, it's like,
Well,
but
yeah, we had this one. We had this one kid on our team. He was maybe 5'5" at the most.
mm-hmm.
Small little, I mean, scrawny little kid. Didn't look like he had a lot of muscle on him.
Right, right.
Yet I'm sitting here. I weighed in at that point in time about 330.
Mm-hmm.
And we had an exercise where we had to go up against each other and try to tackle the opponent, while we both stayed within a lane, kind of to assist
Right.
linemen to be able to tackle a running back.
Uh
This kid picked me up and carried me 15 yards down the field.
huh. Jesus Christ.
A little 5'5" shrimp with it doesn't look like he's got a muscle on his body.
Uh-huh.
Picked me up and carried me 15 freaking yards.
That's pretty awesome.
Ever since then, I keep an eye out on those short people.
No, so do I. So do I. It's just, yeah. In my case, he just wasn't one of those. He had
Oh yeah.
he got a big head from, this is my point of view at least. So he was in
Mhm.
the car with another kid, and it was an accident and the other kid died.
Okay.
From that point on, he was protected by this other group
Yeah.
in the high school.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, you died with him," and everything like that. And
Yeah.
the kid that died, he was a really good guy. Everybody liked him.
Mhm.
And so that was like transferred onto this kid. And so I think he got this big head that he
Yeah.
has these other people's backing, but he didn't worry about if they were around when he did whatever. So it didn't make sense. But that's
Okay.
my only thinking on why he would do such a thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
if you have a strong support, you got to make sure that they're there when you're actually doing something. Otherwise, it's going to end up bad.
Exactly. It didn't end up bad because, well, I'm not a
Well,
mean
yeah,
guy.
no,
I'm
but I
not a
mean,
violent
it
person. But
could.
yeah, it's
If he had tried to do that to somebody that was a violent person,
exactly,
it
exactly.
could have ended up really bad.
It could have. It really could have. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
uh, let's see. Oh, speaking of that shooting in Georgia, they arrested the dad. Did you hear that?
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So,
Second time now. Second time a parent is being charged for the crime that the child committed.
yep, yep. They should also arrest the FBI because the FBI looked at the kid and said, "Oh, you're not a problem.
I don't think it was actually the FBI that did it. I know it was the local police that went and investigated him.
Well, right,
I
but
think the
then
FBI turned it over to the locals, and they didn't. The FBI didn't really look into anything. What I find kind of interesting about that, though, is that one of the reasons that they say that they arrested him is because he had given his kid a
AR,
military style weapon,
right,
the AR-15, for Christmas.
right.
I remember at 14 years old, I already owned my own gun. Dad had
Well,
given me a gun a long time before that,
right,
and
right.
they're saying it's because he knew that his son was being bullied and that his son had these mental issues, and that's why it was a bad idea to give him the gun. And that there may be some truth to that.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if this one will get appealed if he actually gets convicted, because then we could set like a precedent on whether or not it's
Yeah,
okay to do that or not. It's like, and where do you stop it? Do you like giving your kid a car, and they kill somebody, and
yeah,
you should have
yeah.
known better,
If
or
your
this or
kid
that?
goes drunk driving and you gave him the keys, to
Exactly,
go out and do something. I mean,
exactly. But
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 it even
in
goes
this
it
case, he
even
shouldn't have
goes
given him a
beyond that.
gun. What was that?
I said it even goes beyond that. I mean, there were some people that have chimed in on the topic of the parents being charged,
Mm-hmm.
that say that you are responsible for everything that your child does, which means that according to them, if your child shoplifts, you
Right,
should
right.
be arrested for shoplifting as well.
Yep. There'd be a lot of people in jail.
I mean, yeah. As soon as they start making arrests of parents of gangbangers that kill people and stuff like that, as soon as those parents start getting arrested, then
Well, right, right.
maybe
Well,
it.
well,
But
well. Speaking of that, actually, John C. Dvorak on No Agenda, his
yeah,
theory is that all this of arresting these fathers and everything like that, it's actually all targeted towards the black community. It's just that you have to do it with white people first, so you can say, "See, I'm not doing it because I'm racist."
that could be. That could be.
Right, exactly.
Oh, that's
So
hilarious. That's hilarious.
I like that one too. It's yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and the kid definitely should not have been given a gun.
right. No, he shouldn't have. Plain
Based
and simple.
on based on I mean, as soon as the police came to investigate him for those potential remarks,
Yep.
to me that would have said, "All right, this kid, I'm not going to give this kid access to a gun, just in case."
Oh, exactly.
Especially since it happened. He gave the gun. He gave him the gun Christmas this last year, and he was being investigated late last year as well. So this
Yep.
wasn't more than like 5 or 6 months after he had been investigated for potentially posting something on Discord saying that he was going to do that.
Yeah, and
So
I
yeah,
have
no, that should have just been a big trigger
see,
warning, big big red flag.
correct, and if you want to give him a gun, that's fine, but
Yeah,
you need to keep it locked up completely.
you
Maybe keep
yes
it
you
at a gun
you need
range,
to
and
be
they
in.
have the key and they can't take it out. That sort of thing.
Yes,
It's like
yes,
you have to completely secure it no matter what, because
yeah,
your kid has some issues. Apparently,
yes, yes,
it's like you can't know
yeah,
everything that's going on in your kid and everything like that, but general moods you
right,
can tell,
yeah.
everything like that. So yeah,
Well, I
no,
mean,
that's where I
one
think it should
thing,
have gone
yeah,
if he
one,
wanted to give a.
yeah, he definitely should have locked the gun up at least in some
Mm-hmm.
manner.
Yep.
Um, the one thing that I find interesting though is according to that news article where they had gone to where the police had gone to interview him.
Mm-hmm.
He told him, yes, my child has some access to my guns, but he doesn't have easy access to them, and he's been taught how to use them and how to respect them and everything else like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, if you can show me that he was the one that posted that, I will get rid of every gun in this house.
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure that something like that can't happen.
Right.
And the police very quickly just gave up on pursuing it. They stopped investigating it for some reason.
Well, that's stupid. Just I,
Yeah.
I don't know. I do not trust anybody that goes, "Oh, I was hacked." I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
That's just
No.
yeah. Everybody's hacked.
Well,
Yeah.
see,
It's like
the thing is, the thing that I'm wondering about is they didn't actually trace it back to his computer. They just traced it to that town.
then
So I
how
don't
did they
know
link it to
what
him? It had to have been something
I,
to
I
him.
I'm I have to assume that it's maybe he had said, maybe they were interviewing some kids and they said that this person was a little bit odd or something. I mean, that could be. I have no idea how they linked it exactly to him, but all I
But
know is
but
that
from what didn't he say that I was hacked? Wasn't that part of the story? Is that he said he was hacked?
no, I didn't hear that
I
anyways.
that's what I heard. I heard that he said he was hacked.
Okay.
Yep.
If that's what he said, then I absolutely wouldn't believe that and think that he probably posted it. No, according to the to the news report that I heard, he said that he hadn't been on Discord for like 6 months or something like that. He was mostly just doing TikTok and stuff like that, watching videos.
So
So
he's saying that he was hacked. His Discord was hacked, and he didn't say that. That's basically what. So it probably aligns.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it could be that the news report that I watched just didn't include that aspect of it,
Right.
or it
Right.
could be that what you saw added that, even though it wasn't actually said.
Right. Right. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. It seems. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it just I find it problematic that the police just stopped investigating it. They went and interviewed him once and then just dropped the entire thing and didn't investigate the entire situation anymore.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep.
That doesn't seem like good police work. I mean, you've got to at least look into things.
Well, it's suburbia, so what can you do?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
suburban cops. It's
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean,
Okay.
I've never agreed with arresting the parents for something that their children did.
Oh yeah.
I have absolutely no problem if you arrest him for providing the gun, if you arrest them for being a bad parent and stuff like that. That
Uh-huh.
all absolutely would fall into it. But to actually charge him with the actual murder of the people,
Yep.
I think that there's a big issue there. That's to me that seems very unlawful.
No, yeah, I completely understand. It's a new thing. They're trying it out, and they're seeing if it's sticking. That's
Yeah.
really what these cops are trying to do. They're trying to, and prosecutors, they're
Hmm.
trying to see if this is actually going to stick. I don't think they even know if it'll work yet. Uh,
Yeah.
but also the idea is to probably try to scare parents, going, you
Oh,
need to
that's
control your
absolutely
children
the
more.
idea. Yes.
Yeah, so maybe it'll work. I don't know. It's
I don't. I think it's not about controlling the child. I think it's about controlling guns. Is
well,
I think
right,
what
right,
it's about. Yeah.
but it's this is a new prong in trying to control guns for kids. You can't just
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
Trying to stop guns, it's almost impossible now, especially with the Supreme
Well,
Court
yeah,
we
and,
have
and
right now. So
even
it's
if you stop the guns, even if you stop the guns, there are other weapons out there. In that
oh yeah,
Secret Service report I was talking about, they said that while the majority of it was guns, there were a lot of them where it was knives.
oh yeah, yeah. Look at the UK. They have so many stabbings and
Yeah,
everything like that. It's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, I think we beat that one to death in that topic.
yeah. I think
Okay.
we've definitely beat that
Okay.
topic to death. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Just as an interlude, I have two here. One's just a quick, funny interlude.
Okay.
Apparently, a Navy commander was relieved of duty after a viral photo went bad. Apparently, the scope on his rifle is backwards. Yep. 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 So,
Wow. I mean, I I hope that was being done as a joke.
no, it wasn't. It
I
wasn't.
mean,
He was relieved of command. Yeah.
oh wow, yeah. If you can't even put a scope on a rifle correctly, there's definitely some issues there.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's I have one that's kind of like that. Kind of just a little funny thing.
Mm-hmm.
You heard about the Taylor Swift and Mahomes' wife thing?
No.
So I guess uh, Patrick Mahomes' wife posted she liked some comments from Trump.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden there were so many people just on that were Taylor Swift fans that were telling Taylor Swift that she can't go to the last game. She can't hang out with her anymore, all because she liked a few Trump posts.
That's funny.
I'm like, how have we gotten into a situation where you're not even allowed to talk to someone that has a differing opinion of you?
Because then you might learn something, you know.
Yeah,
It's the only thing I can think
I
of.
have learned many things from Democrat friends in the past.
Exactly,
I hope
exactly.
they've learned some things from me as well. But
And a
I
lot of
mean,
times you can come to a common ground, you know. It's like,
yeah,
yeah.
I really liked Taylor Swift's reaction to that, though.
What was that?
And her reaction was, "I don't care what someone's politics are. If I like them, they're a friend.
Yeah, exactly,
If I
exactly.
like who they are as a person, I'm going to hang out with them. I don't care what their politics are."
Exactly. That's how I am too. Yeah, yeah. I don't care about the
Yeah,
politics.
same here. Yeah.
Now, if they're too political, like that's all they are,
Well,
that's annoying.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But if they can actually talk about other things, I'm good with it. I'm good
yeah,
with it.
yeah. Absolutely,
That's funny.
absolutely.
uh,
Yeah, she supposedly. I mean, if everybody does what they posted, she has lost a lot of fans now.
who
I
cares?
highly doubt anybody actually stopped being her fan because of that. But
You never know, but more than likely not. It's
yeah.
yeah. So
Yep.
I thought I should quickly mention this whole thing. You heard about that historian or supposed historian Daryl Cooper that went on Tucker show and basically said that he said that Winston Churchill was the villain of World War II.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, yeah. He goes on there and he basically just says it's all Churchill's fault. Uh, if Churchill hadn't attacked Germany after they invaded Poland, the war would have been much better for everybody, and not as many people would have died. He blames all the mass death that German created through through the Holocaust and everything like that, and all the other people they killed beyond the Holocaust. He said that's because they just didn't know what to do with the people.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, 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 and then he like
No,
goes
it's
on.
because they were diabolically evil.
Well, it's like he is right. They didn't know what to do with the people, but they decided to
Yeah,
kill him in the end. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like
There were lots of things you could have do. You didn't have to kill them. You didn't have to put them into gas houses.
exactly, exactly. You know, and he says that Winston Churchill was evil because he really tried to propagandize America. He spent so many millions of pounds propagandizing America and everything like that. I'm going, yeah, he was fighting for his survival. This is
Yeah.
what we do.
His country was under attack. That's kind of what you have to do.
Exactly. He goes, well, Hitler wouldn't have attacked the UK because Hitler's wanted a peace deal with him and sent a treaty. And I'm going, yeah, that would have been as good as the treaty he wrote with the Soviet Union. It's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
it's like
if I remember correctly, it wasn't the Soviet Union that turned on Germany first.
no, yeah, exactly. It's like the whole sequence is that there was a Neville Chamberlain, and after
Hmm.
he took care of Austria and took parts of Czechoslovakia, the German parts, Neville Chamberlain
Yep.
comes back and goes, Hitler said this is going to be the end of it, and then he invades Poland. It's
Yeah.
and the UK had a defense treaty with Poland. And so
Yep.
basically that automatically pulls the UK into it and pulls
Oh
everybody
yeah.
else into it. And so
Yeah.
it
Well,
just,
and if we follow his reasoning, then, because I mean this all goes when you're dealing with stuff like this in the history, you want it to be brought further into the current usually. So
Mhm.
this would mean that if we keep supporting Ukraine, that means that we are responsible for all the people that die, all the soldiers that die, all the civilians that die, because we're supporting Ukraine in stopping Russia from taking it over.
Yep. Yep.
Which really would lead to a really bad thing if you get blamed for something because you went to the defense of somebody that's being attacked.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
you know,
Well,
wow, yeah.
see, to me, the question with that sort of thing is like, are we just making the war go longer than it needs to?
Yes,
But,
yes, absolutely,
we
yeah.
know what the result is going to be, anyways. Are we
Yep.
just prolonging the despair and the death? I
Yeah.
think that'd be a valid question to ask in that case.
Yes.
But when it comes
Yes.
to like this sort of thing, it's like, okay, you can look at the history and you can see why Hitler came to power. You can see what made
Oh yeah.
Hitler. You can see all these
Yeah,
things.
absolutely.
You can see that the Versailles Treaty of World War One really caused Germany to have horrible economy, inflation, like nobody's
Oh
business. They were
yeah.
taking
Yeah.
wheelbarrows full of money to buy groceries, everything like
Yep.
this. So you could take all that and you can see why the German people turned towards like a Hitler or that sort of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Yes.
Hitler
Yes.
was an
Without a
evil son of
doubt.
a bitch. I'm sorry. He was.
He was. Yeah.
There's. You can be a contrarian, but this isn't contrarian. This is you like Hitler.
Oh no.
I'm
No.
sorry. It's just
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how I view it.
This is a fanboy trying to find excuses.
Something. Yeah. Yeah. It's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I listened to that podcast. I had seen the articles in the news. I'm going, well, maybe. But then I listened to it. You know what's funny is that he seems like a very intelligent guy,
Yeah.
and some of his other things that he has done, it seems okay, and he seems to know what he's talking about. It's just I think
Right.
he's like focused. A lot of times, historians or just people in general, they have this thesis and they do everything to back up that thesis no matter what. Even as they're digging their own
Yes.
grave,
Yes.
they go, this is it, this
Yeah.
is it. And I've seen historians do this all the time and everything like this. You're just like going, dude, no, that's not it. But they keep digging
Yeah.
and digging and they just will not take any outside thing. That could be what's going on here, but it seems very fishy to me. It's a bit
Oh yeah. Yeah.
very, very fishy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That seems a little bit weird.
Exactly.
Yeah. So have you heard about what Facebook has done now with their well, not technically Facebook, it's Meta, which controls all of their different platforms. Have you heard what they've declared as to not be hate speech?
What?
from the river to the sea is not hate speech anymore, according to them.
Oh, okay. So we got some anti-Semites up in there. Got it. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. They claim that it's not hate speech because it's being used by people that are pro-Palestinian and just want the Palestinians to have their own land.
Sure.
I'm sorry, but as long as a militant group is still using that slogan as an excuse and as a way to get people to support them in attacking a country, that's kind of hate speech.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how a few people here in the U.S. use it.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, they want to wipe out the Jews, just like everybody else in the world, basically. So it's just, it's wow. That's special right there.
Yeah.
That is special.
I thought so too when I read that article.
Let's see. Oh, it looks
so you
like
got anything else good?
It looks like the European Union they won or $13 billion tax bill from Apple.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Well, what it was is that Apple had set up Ireland system where basically Ireland gave them little taxes, but since Ireland is in the EU, it was their gateway to the EU.
Into the EU, yeah.
Right. And so because of this, Apple saved $13 billion or 13 euros. 13 billion euros. And the
I was
EU
going to
didn't
say
like
$13 billion or 13 euros. God damn, how high is the euro now?
Right, exactly. Yeah, 13 billion euros. And basically what's funny is that the Ireland, they were on Apple's side in this whole case. Ireland's going, what's wrong with what we did? And Apple's like going, we were told to pay this tax. This was the system that was set up. And the High Court of EU says, no, you have to pay it. You were cheating. You were cheating. And so, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's a whole new level of special.
Right? Exactly. And then another Apple EU sort of thing. So they're coming out with a new phone, right? Mm-hmm. Apple is. And a new 16, operating system.
The AI phone. Yep.
Yeah, new operating system that uses artificial intelligence.
Yep.
Right. Well, apparently Europe is not getting the artificial intelligence right off the bat. Because of all their regulations about privacy and everything like this. So, so Apple's turning that off for them, which is pissing off their commission. But it's like, what do you want them to do? You don't want this, but you don't want two tier. It's like, so Apple might get in trouble again for having two tiers. I think the EU just wants their law to be worldwide. It seems like that's what they really want. I mean, it's
that is their entire goal. I mean, they want more of a one world government.
Well, right. Yeah, they're doing it in Europe, and it's really screwing things up over there.
Oh, massively.
Those technocrats.
I heard that they also don't have the AI on the first rollout of the phones in China as well.
Right. I'm not sure why that is.
I don't know either. It's funny, some of the things that people are posting. They're like, AI was the entire reason that we wanted this phone. So if you're not going to let us have AI, you should only charge us half price for the phone.
AI is the software. It's not the hardware.
I can't fault that logic. I
can't, but go talk to your government. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah. You can't. In the EU, it's like the United States of like long time ago, It's like they have no say, the executive is not chosen by the people. Nothing over there except for their parliament that really doesn't have that much power. So, it's crazy.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's what even if you have free elections in each country, it's not each country that determines what happens in the EU. It's the EU board. So each country what appoints someone to the
Exactly.
board or something like that. It
Exactly.
has, I mean, yeah. So you go and talk to your country's leaders, and they can't do shit.
Yep. Yep.
There's
Exactly.
absolutely nothing that anyone can do.
Yeah. This is why the UK broke off. It is why the
Yep,
UK broke off. It's
absolutely.
yeah. Hopefully more do it.
That would be good. It would be nice. It would be good. Yeah.
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 So the last thing I have to talk about here is regarding it's in CNN's climate news.
Uh huh.
I guess there's this guy who is hired by Egypt to go and dredge out a lake on the Sinai Peninsula.
Okay.
This lake, it's not what I would consider a lake, but it is technically considered a lake because there's a continuous sandbar that separates it from the Mediterranean Ocean.
Right.
So it's very saltwater. It's saltwater but it's got started to get a little bit warm, so fish can't survive in it as well. And it's also that's because sediment has seeped down into it, and it's gone from being very deep to being only like 10 foot deep.
Mm-hmm.
And so anytime you have a body of water, it in anywhere around a desert that's only 10 foot deep, the sun beating down on it, the water's going to get pretty warm.
Right.
And so what they hired him to do is to go in and dredge out all of the soil and stuff that has accumulated down in that lake to make it deeper again. So that hopefully the fish will be able to return. And he's
Yeah.
also making some areas where the Mediterranean can wash into there to provide fresh seawater and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which
Dredging it. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes it no longer a lake because it's now they're breaking the sandbar, but who knows. But what I found very, very interesting was he has a plan to make the Sinai Peninsula green again.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
he's going to do this by taking all of that land that he dredges up from there
Mm-hmm.
and spreading it across the desert in the Sinai Peninsula.
Okay.
There's just a few little problems that I can see with that.
Not much rain.
Number one,
Yeah.
well, yeah, exactly. He thinks that if you plant trees and stuff like there'll be more evaporation, which means that there'll be more rain.
So
Is what he says will happen.
so he thinks it's a Field of Dreams situation. If you build
Yes,
it.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. But another problem is that all of this soil is extremely salty.
Good point. Because it's a salt lake. Is that it?
Yeah, yeah. So you're going to spread salt. You're going to salt the desert and hope that shit grows there. If I remember correctly, salt is like one of the things that kills the plants in an area.
Last time I checked, yeah. Last time I checked.
I mean,
That's
yes,
hilarious.
there are some plants that can thrive in a somewhat salty environment,
Right.
but I mean, come on, you got to be realistic here.
That's hilarious. People are crazy. People are
Yeah,
crazy.
they expect, and they're quoting one province in China that's done something somewhat similar.
Uh-huh.
There was a province in China that they have pictures before and after, and you can see that the before picture is uh, it's basically a wasteland. You don't really see much vegetation at all anywhere in it.
Okay.
And then 30 years later now, there's some greenery there. Now, I can't really compare apples and oranges with these pictures because they're taken from two completely different vantage points, but also I don't think they're of the exact same area.
Uh-huh.
I think one picture is further down the Yellow River than the other one is.
Okay.
So you can't really compare apples to orange. It's apples to oranges. You can't compare it very well. But the thing I find hilarious is that basically every person that knows about the environment and water usage and stuff like that says that that area is now at the point where it cannot grow any greener. And
Okay.
it's not that green. And the reason being is that there's just not enough water to support more plant life there,
No, okay.
which completely makes sense. I mean, you're how much plant life you have in an area is completely dependent on how much water they have.
Right.
In the Sinai Peninsula, if I'm not mistaken, they don't get much water there.
Like rain?
Yeah.
Let's see. Rainfall. How do you Let's see. I'm checking.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Dominant 2 zones, yada yada.
Yeah, this guy he says that they obviously had gotten a lot of rain in the past, that used to be in lush green area.
Well, right.
And he says that the reason that he says this is because even from a picture from far away, you can see what would have been rivers. You can see the river tracks. But that doesn't mean, I mean, climate's changed. That could have happened during the Ice Age. You never know.
Exactly.
But no, his goal in this is to turn the Sinai Peninsula green, to turn deserts green, so that they use up more carbon dioxide in the air, which means that global warming will be decreased. Now, there is something I find very interesting about that, though, and they say this in this article, so they've approached the article from both sides.
Okay.
What they say is that an area of desert actually cools the planet,
Huh. Interesting.
because the solar rays, a desert will bounce the solar rays back out into space,
Right.
whereas a
Huh.
lush green forest holds it and traps it.
That's interesting.
So much like a hurricane is the way that the ocean cools off,
Right.
according to what these guys are saying, deserts is how the planet cools off.
That is
So as the
interesting.
planet gets hotter, more
Right.
things become desert, which means that the planet cools off again. I mean,
I could see
it
that.
just kind of, yeah.
Sounds weird, but
Everything on this planet is cyclical. I mean, it
uh,
sounds weird, but yeah. I mean,
well, yeah,
who would
deserts
think
come,
that
deserts
deserts could
go.
be?
Well,
Yeah,
yep, yep. So,
yeah.
I
So
looked, and it looks like they don't get much rain. It's like January they get like half an inch of rain.
mhm.
February a third of an inch, and then a quarter, then a tenth, then a tenth, and then nothing,
Yeah,
and then a
yeah.
tenth,
So
and then a third,
their
and then a third. Yeah,
best their best month is the same as one day here.
exactly. It's like
I mean, that tells me that no matter how much greenery you plant there, it ain't going to survive unless you irrigate the heck out of it.
yeah, no, a wet year would be like 5 inches of rain. It's like
Yeah.
that'd be a really wet year. So, yeah, no.
And the other problem that I have with that is, so you're going to put all these plants out there that are going to use up all this water.
Uh-huh.
What about the people that are currently living there that need that water to survive? Are they just going to move off the Sinai Peninsula?
I have no clue how many people live in this sign.
I have no idea either. I know that there's at least some people there, though. It's not like it's a place that doesn't have anything.
That's about 600,000, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
more. That was 2013. It was
Okay.
597,000 people. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I mean you're gonna use up the water that they use to survive
No.
to turn the plant to turn that small area green. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just seems a little problematic to me.
He's a crazy guy. What can you do?
Yeah, yeah,
Speaking of crazy guys, we are a value for value podcast here. So, what you need to do is you need to help us make this podcast. Send us whatever you think this has been worth to you. So, if you think this was worth like $1 for your time, send us $1. If you think it was worth $100, send us $100. Whatever you think, just please send us what you can do to help us out here. And if
yeah.
you do send us some money, if you are the top uh, person to donate, we will give you an executive producer for the show. It will be there for forever. As long as information is around, you will always be executive producer of the show.
Hopefully that's not an issue. Hopefully you don't mind being our executive producer.
Well, that's why they give us money, Jamin, is because they don't mind. So, yes, please
Yeah,
donate. Or if you want to give us topic ideas, send us what you got. If you want to help out maybe with artwork or something like that, also send that on into us. You can
yeah,
reach me
absolutely.
by, yeah, you can reach me by email at jesse at mindlessc.com. And we're still working on Jamin's email. Apparently, he doesn't want to give
Yeah.
his other one because there's too much junk mail there, right? So
I open up my email every other day. I see an extra 100 emails.
that sounds about right.
I mean, I I wouldn't be able to see anything sent by anyone anyways.
Okay, okay.
It
Well,
would just be too much of a mess trying to find anything.
no, completely understand. Completely understand. Well, everybody, that was it. Thank you for listening to the Mindless Meandering podcast. I am your host or co-host, Jesse Fries.
And I'm the other co-host, Jamin Freeze.
And
And I
you
hope
have
you guys have a great day.
have a great rest of your day.